let me bring some sunshine in, okay, by talking about something, which we take for granted, and that is vitamin D, and something that is so essential. So friends, well, sun, right? Sunshine comes from the sun. And sun has always been revered in our tradition and so many other traditions from time immemorial, isn't it? Right? You see the sun in the form of the sun salutations even at our Delhi International Airport. Well, this is how our ancestors used to be. They would be exposed to sunlight at least 8, 9 hours in the daytime, right? And I'm sure none of us fit here. Does anybody fit here in this picture? In olden days, I mean, we have done it for our kids. When they were small, we would apply oil to them, let them be in the sun for some time. So there were some very healthy traditions which have now become almost obsolete in today's time. Next, please. So this is how we are today. These are our children, all indoor personalities like us, and playing all the possible games with the help of that technology in their hands, isn't it? Right? And then this is what we are today. We are scared of the sun, right? Literally scared to death. So we cover ourselves as if there's a big monster around us who's going to damage us completely. Okay, this is how we are living nowadays. And the industries, associated industries, are actually booming. Yeah. And then there's a big question that if I go out in the sun today, like there's so many people who are athletes, who are outdoor personalities, unfortunately, we see that even they are low in vitamin D. And the reason is this pollution that we have created. There's a huge veil of pollution, electromagnetic waves, which do not allow the good ultraviolet B rays come to us. So practically, yes, please. Vitamin D has to be seen from a different angle in 2023 and beyond. Friends, the fact is, vitamin D deficiency is a pandemic, much before the COVID pandemic came in, right? The deficiency of vitamin D is global, even in the sun-laden countries like the Middle East, talk of any place. And these are the stats from India, right? More than 90% people in India are vitamin D deficient, be it urban, semi-urban, and even rural. We did a project recently with tribals in Sangamner. We checked the vitamin Ds who were working in fields. And even there we found that more than 90% had a significant deficiency of this very vital vitamin D. And friends, this is something very shocking. The medical and the paramedical professionals, right? Even they, 88% are low in vitamin D. They have the deficiency. So let's get back. What we have studied about vitamin D, right? And which is still going on today without being changed, without being altered. And that is low vitamin D, osteoporosis, rickets, osteomalacia, full stop. This is our understanding about vitamin D today. Next, please. And yes, we also have this background understanding. It could be a good revision for some of us that, well, we get the good rays from the sun through the skin and they come to the liver. There, the vitamin D gets the first step of conversion. Then it goes to our kidneys, where there's a second step of conversion. And then the finally active vitamin D is made in the body, which is being utilized for getting more calcium from the food into the bones and making our bones strong and healthy. So, well, this we know that if there's any pain in the body, at least we should look at vitamin D deficiency. Sadly, even then we don't look at it. There are ample studies that pain management can be so much easier by correcting vitamin D deficiency. Okay, you can see here, 93% patients with pain are low in vitamin D. Okay, so can I ask here, how many of you know your vitamin D levels? Many of them are our family members. Yeah, that's good, huh? Right, glad to know that. But there's so many, majority don't even know where they stand and how much water are you standing, right? So the first thing we need to do today is at least check your vitamin D levels. And I'm sure most of you will be shocked to know where you stand. Okay, friends, so now that's the main part of it. Do we stop here? No. Vitamin D is found to work on every cell of the body. Hey, we didn't even know that. We didn't even know that, right? It's found, just go back. Yes. Can you believe it? Adequate vitamin D levels reduce cancer risk, protect against asthma, keep the fractures aside. Yes. Helps lower blood pressure, important for immunity. Mood. Can you believe it? Vitamin D is important for mood. Sorry to say, but even those who are deeply into meditation, spirituality, they all should also check their vitamin D. Their meditation will get better. Because they'll be always indoors. Yes, and they are all low. And then all the depressive moods, elated moods, all these fluctuations, cognitive problems, not being grounded, it's all related to this very important vitamin, which every cell of the brain also needs for adequate functioning. Okay? Heart, and of course, the athletic performance. And something which was missed in the other slides, diabetes, depression, autoimmune diseases, which is my focus, right? Okay, go ahead, please. So how does it happen? Friends, vitamin D works through receptors present where? In our nucleus. Every living cell has a nucleus, and it works through the nuclear receptors on almost all the mechanisms of the body. That's fascinating. It's been found to work for the heart. I'm not going technically deep. Let's know it's good for the heart. Reduces blood pressure, prevents problems of the heart. Cancer cell proliferation, it reduces. Can you imagine that? These problems were not that rampant in the past. Immune system disorders, whether it is immune deficiency or a hyperactive immune system, urticaria, rashes, food allergies, frequent coughs and colds, well, it has a role to play. And the best part is the mechanisms are known. I'm not talking humbug. I'm talking pure science, and this is the most researched vitamin. So coughs and colds, next please. Mechanisms are known. I'm just skipping all this because I would like to convey more to you. Mechanisms we can always read on our own. Now, rising incidence of autoimmune disorders. And it's shocking, friends, I'm sure you'll agree after this COVID time we have gone through, the incidence of autoimmune diseases has even gone up more, right? The time has really changed. And COVID has actually opened our eyes to vitamin D. We never knew that much. That how vital is vitamin D even for fighting against COVID. During COVID time, we have given high doses of vitamin D to so many patients. I'm sure Dr. Millie, Dr. Jignasha, all of you will agree how it could have been working, right? Okay, friends, that's me. Okay, I have been a patient of very bad skin problems, autoimmune disorders, started with psoriasis. Second episode was this darkening of the skin called lichen planus pigmentosa. I could not face people because people would say, "आपको हो गया? आप तो योग कराते हो, आप तो प्राणायाम कराते हो, आपको हो गया?" And that's the time I realized that yoga, pranayam, meditation are softwares. My hardware had a problem. So till I don't correct my hardware, how will this software work? Right? And that's how at the age of 50 plus, I ventured out to do a course in functional medicine, nutrition in the US. And well, I'm standing in front of you to share something very unique. And then I started using, after learning something which I'm going to come to you, we started using vitamin D, and we have some awesome, mind-blowing results for people with chronic disorders, right? Yeah, because vitamin D mechanisms are too many. My teacher, he says that it's a very intelligent molecule. The pathways it works upon are so many that a single pharmaceutical agent cannot do so many functions. So it's a divine vitamin. Vitamin D, vitamin divine. There's so many pathways involved with it. And it's high time we doctors awaken. Who needs the biggest nudge? We, the doctors. Because we are not really aware of the mechanisms and pathways. Huh? We take it for granted. Yeah. And even if we write, we'll write for 2 months, 3 months and chhod do. Phir dekha jayega. It's like you're putting little petrol in a car on reserve and waiting for the car to stop on the road again and then put some petrol into that. Okay. So there are too many mechanisms, too many pathways, including Parkinsonism, blah, 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 multiple sclerosis where it works. So concluding this little section of my talk, we are all getting less D from sun. Let's acknowledge. And two, even if we are exposed to sun, we are not getting it. Please note that. Huh? Food. The question comes, does food have vitamin D? Unfortunately, no. We confuse calcium and vitamin D, even the most educated people. We confuse it. We think milk has vitamin D. Milk has no vitamin D. Milk has calcium. We need vitamin D to absorb that calcium. अब vitamin D नहीं है तो वो calcium कैसे आएगा अंदर में? Or it will go to wrong places in the body. Okay? So less vitamin D, less D in food, less D in body, and more diseases today. Because it is working on all mechanisms. And friends, in today's time, I boldly say this. Vitamin D is not an optional supplement. There is no option. Okay? It is a cellular necessity. So we have three options. Either we live in the 16th, 17th century, not possible. Or we take vitamin D supplementation today, or we take more medicines later in the future. Let's accept the three possibilities for today. So now comes the question, how much am I getting enough vitamin D? So vitamin D is one great one which you can check it in blood. Ek blood test kara lo, you will know where you stand. Okay? So, you can say in the early 80s and all, the levels used to be above 50. And friends, we are all nutritionists, so 50 nanogram per ml. There are certain labs which check in nanomole. Okay? So if it's a nanomole, you have to divide it by 2.5. Thanks, Dr. Akshay. So divide it by 2.5. Okay? So you know where you stand, right? So it used to be nanograms itna, but now see, 10 chodo, we are in 23, we see levels of less than 10, less than 3, less than 4. These are the shocking levels we see nowadays. Next, please. So how much should we aim for is the question. Even today, many of the labs are using old norms. You will see some labs writing 20 to 30 adequate, 30 to 40 adequate. No. Sufficient. And more than 80 toxicity. I'm standing in front of you, my levels are 130 right now, okay? Am I toxic? No, I'm being honest about it, right? So the Endocrine Society says how much? 30 to 100 is good. 30 to 100 is good, right? And toxicity, and then there's a vitamin D council which takes a middle path, 40 to 80 is good, and toxicity is always more than 200, not even 150. It's known. All the papers, publications are there. All right, so there's no fear of toxicity with the common doses that we take. What are we scared of? Our ancestors had blood levels of 70 to 80 nanogram per ml. It's proven. So let's at least target 60, 70. 60, 70, and COVID has proven that, right? For a good immune system, basic, we need vitamin D levels between 60 and 70 nanograms, not nanomoles, nanogram per ml. And see, sadly, what reports we see? Less than 3. These are reports of my patients. 8, less than 3. I've seen one. Can you believe it? Oops, you have to see the problems that fell over. Young boy, you know. Anyway, so now friends, all these diseases, there's a gist of many things. Good, you're taking so many pictures. I'm happy. Please take them, yeah? So the incidence of diseases comes down as the level of vitamin D goes up. As the levels of vitamin D go up, the incidence of diseases, please next one, goes down. And some I must substantiate at least something with papers, right? So you can see this paper which says a vitamin D concentration of 60 to 80 needed to reduce cancer risk. And today, cancer patients are not even checked for vitamin D. They've undergone chemotherapies, everything going on, where they need it so badly to even overcome the side effects of chemotherapy. Their B12s are low and their Ds are so drastically low.
And they are not allowed to eat vegetables, no raw, no food.
Absolutely.
They just eat
stuff, yeah. So they need supplementation badly. Okay. It's a journal, very popular one. You might be interested. It's a very nice paper. 21st century evaluation of safety of vitamin D, which tells you कि अरे डरने का नहीं है. Simple as that. Next, please. Oh, sorry, the previous slide. I want to show you something. Yes. What does this nutrition wala paper say? Which is true because our ancestors, as farming professionals, would make 10,000 to 20,000 international units of vitamin D daily with sun exposure. Now I'm coming to something else. Levels ho gaya, abhi kitna chahiye, right? That we speak in terms of international units. So how much we need? So our ancestors used to make 10,000 to 20,000 IUs daily with sun exposure. 10,000. Let's keep it 10,000. Okay. And now 10,000 has been accepted as a physiological daily dose of vitamin D. Okay. Even the European community talks about it. 10,000 daily for adults, 4,000 for young adolescents between 11 and 17, and young kids 2,000 IUs per day is the daily physiological dose of vitamin D. So a big question comes, can I not get it naturally? Yeah. Obviously, we would love to look at that. And I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say yes, but I can't fool you, right? So let's talk facts. But even if they sit, I'll tell you one thing, our mechanisms have got distorted inside. I will come to that. Cellular level pe, there is vitamin D resistance. So even if they are getting exposed, the cells are not getting it. That is one thing. And I must tell you at this juncture, when I started my treatment with vitamin D for my skin problems, right, I was low. And that's the time I was putting sunscreen every 2 hours as per the recommendation of specialists. I used to put it every 2 hours in sun, And anyways, I started taking treatment of high dose D, which I'm going to come to you very briefly. And when I became all right, my levels were up, I have not used sunscreen now for almost 5 years. Zarurat hi nahi hai. Because if the internal levels of vitamin D are good, sun cannot burn my skin. But if I'm low inside, the same sun ka rays can damage my skin. So we have to correct our mechanisms from inside out, rather than only out, 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 out. Okay? So friends, let's see natural kya source hain, thoda sa dekhte hain. Next please. So sun exposure. Now time, what time is the exposure that probably we can get good vitamin D? Can you believe it? It is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Not 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning. That's the time the sun is up on the horizon. And we get the good ultraviolet B rays and not the bad ultraviolet A rays. That's point number one. How long do we expose? At least half an hour to 1 hour, but with 80%, 60 to 80% body exposed, yeah. We're not going to wear bikinis and walk on Prabhat Road and Deccan Marine Drive. You understand? We can't do that. So we are going to cover ourselves, and how can we ever achieve that? Okay, next please. So between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 20 to 30 minutes with a lot of body exposure till the skin becomes pink and all these things are there, but practically nobody's ready for that. So let's come to some food sources. Very sad to say that the vegetarian world has zero vitamin D. Sorry. उसमें क्या है? नहीं है, huh? So where would our ancestors get it from? 90% by sun working and with a pure environment in olden days, not in 2023 and beyond. And two, they would get some wild mushrooms to pick and eat, some wild berries, and some meat and all, just unko milta tha, right? So well, salmon, fish, one itna piece has so many IUs, 800 IUs. So if today I need 5,000 IUs, can I eat so much fish every day? Anda, okay. One egg yolk has 40 IUs. 40 IUs means I need to eat how many eggs to get? Nobody can take so many egg yolks. Huh? Egg yolk, not egg white. Then all this milk and all is fortified abroad, not in India. So our milk, our products do not have vitamin D at all. Next please, click, 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 quick. Yeah, so you can see if I need 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, I need to drink 100 glasses of fortified milk, 10 pieces of fish, and so many andas. Not possible. So let's acknowledge the facts today that, well, we need this dose and the sun has come to us down in the form of supplements. So thanks to the pharma industry for making it. Kahan se milta tha? We wouldn't have got it, right? In fact, at this juncture, if we have doctors from other fields like homeopathy, Ayurveda, I request you all, please, आप लोग भी अपने patients का vitamin D check करो. Vitamin D is not allopathy. It's common sense pathy. It's common sense pathy. Check it, correct it, and your homeopathy, Ayurveda will work better. Because when these sciences were conceived so many years back, there was no vitamin D deficiency. Just simple, right? So we need to definitely do that. So here we have sunshine in the form of pills, capsules, liquids, whatever you want to call it. And we are very lucky in India. to have products which have 60,000 international units. In the West and all, you get 5,000, 1,000. We don't get big doses. And vitamin D remains in the blood for a long time, so we can take it periodically. Roz khane ka zarurat nahi hai, right? Once a week, based on the levels. So best is get it checked. Most of the time we get prescriptions, take it once a week for 2 months. कोई बहुत liberal doctor होगा तो 3 months, and then stop it. And then take it after 6 months. So it's like थोड़ा सा petrol डालो गाड़ी में, फिर डाला जाएगा. Huh? So what we have recommended, we see, and there's so many things happening in the world, worldwide, that we continue it. So we aim at getting the levels above 50 and then have a maintenance dose of once in 15 days. The maintenance dose is 60,000 once in 15 days after your levels have come up to 60. Not before that, otherwise it's of no use. So in today's time, a healthy lifestyle is not just diet, exercise, meditation, XYZ. It includes vitamin D. It's a part of our lifestyle, and vitamin D is a genetic modulator. You know, it works on our genes. I'm going to come to that. So in today's time, we can treat problems with higher levels because Endocrine Society says rakho, 100 tak rakho. And more than 100 is not toxic. You may call it excess, but it's not really toxic. Because now we are going to step into other aspect of vitamin D. Till now we were talking about meeting a deficiency, replacing it. Now we are coming, can vitamin D treat problems? Because I'm a doctor, so I will definitely throw light on it. So at least you know that yes, it has the potential. So let me at least correct the levels of my patients. Even for those who are aiming for weight loss, I'm sure most of the people who come today are for weight loss. Metabolic diseases, diabetes, hypothyroidism, they all need vitamin D to get a better weight loss than otherwise. So vitamin D is not just a nutrient, it's now called as a pro-hormone. It's important, vital. It's an immunomodulator. Well, it modulates the immune system to sahi. It makes the immune system optimum, neither too active nor underactive, hence immune modulator. And there's one more addition to it after this, it's a genetic modulator. It is an epigenetic factor, I'm sure you read about it. So vitamin D is an epigenetic factor. It modulates the environment of the cells and switches off the bad genes as it switches on the good genes inside our nucleus. Okay, next please. Papers, if you want to read, I can get you many more. This is just one, how it works in autoimmune diseases, the mechanisms, the pathways, and a quick glimpse of its intelligence. Our immune system is the most complicated system. I remember as a medical student, I would run away from the chapter, but I had to study to pass, so I crammed it up, right? But now I realize, wow, it is so important, right? And the mechanisms are so complicated. That's why we doctors dread when we see patients of any immune disorder. I'm telling you honestly. But now I don't dread, thanks to vitamin D, the knowledge and the results which I've seen over the last 6-7 years. So there are so many types of immune cells in the body. Some are good, some are bad. So vitamin D has the intelligence, जो inflammation produce करते हैं, वो को दबा दो. Nowadays, tell me one condition which doesn't have inflammation at its root. It's very easy for anybody to say, oh, you have inflammation. Arey Baba, everybody has it, yeah. Everybody has it in some or the other form. So it suppresses the inflammatory mechanisms and the anti-inflammatory mechanisms it activates. If vitamin D levels are adequate, those people are found to have lesser complications even to the COVID vaccines. It was such a big defense mechanism during that time. So friends, it does good, okay? Technical, I'm skipping this technical slide. This is important for that vaccine understanding I was telling you. A proper response to vaccines is what we want today. We say vaccine mat lagao. Some vaccines are a must, you have to. Some are optional. Optionals, I will say mat lagao. But what is a must? We have to follow norms and systems. So now how do we protect our system that the response that the body makes is adequate? Have good vitamin D levels in your system. That unsung hero knows how to deal with the immunity and creates a very balanced response. Okay, that's a very interesting point. And that it does it through balancing the Treg cells and the Th17 response, different cells. So now I introduce you to my teacher who has brought this confidence in me. He's Dr. Coimbra from Brazil. After doing my functional medicine course, where I didn't get that much knowledge about how to deal with my immune problems, yeah? And for me, my problem was just a glimpse to a big world of so many problems. I'm very grateful, mere ko hua, you know? And then you can find out methods and ways. So he's a neurologist from Brazil who was treating patients with patients of multiple sclerosis with high doses of D. So I got to know about him. He said, "Aoge, सीखने को." मैंने कहा, "आऊंगी." So I went to Brazil to learn from him, and those were those light bulb moments of my life to get to learn from him. And he gave me the confidence on high dose of D because he was using vitamin D to treat MS patients, and he saw कि अरे papers हैं बहुत सारे. Next, please. He saw that the other autoimmune diseases which the patient had were getting corrected. So that's how the whole thing started. That areva, he was giving vitamin D for myelinating the nerve fibers. We've all read that. That vitamin D is needed to myelinate the nerve fibers, which is a problem in patients with MS, right? But he saw that other problems were also getting. This is his patients, huh? And then so much of work has gone, and this is one of the latest papers in 2022, vitamin D resistance as the cause of autoimmune disease. So there are alterations which have happened at our genes because of the environment and stress and whatever you want to call it. Genes have got modified. Okay? And vitamin D resistance ho gaya usse. Means we are taking vitamin D but it's not working. And that is one cause of many immune problems and diseases of today. So what does it mean? More vitamin D is needed when there is vitamin D resistance. Like we know about insulin resistance, thyroid resistance, there's a vitamin D resistance. So zyada chahiye. How to monitor it? We'll see. There are mechanisms there. So these are some papers, how vitamin D receptors have got altered. And just quickly I will tell you, the mechanisms in immune system are all inside the immune cells, not in the blood. The mechanisms of how it works is all inside our cells and they are all known, right? We know the pathways. Just sharing with you some more papers, how vitamin D deficiency and gene polymorphism for problems like even lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, type 1 diabetes mellitus, psoriasis, my problem, right? Go ahead. Rheumatoid arthritis, everywhere there are publications talking about it, right? So friends, now in 2023, vitamin D deficiency, resistance के reasons क्या हैं? Not just low exposure to sun, छोटा सा मामला है ये. The bigger मामला is vitamin D receptor gene polymorphism. So means we have to give more vitamin D to patients. Well, some of the patients whose MRI plaques have also disappeared with treatment of vitamin D. So today's time, deficiency and resistance as the cause of problems. So, well, this is when I was there to do my training. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. How do we monitor it? I said my levels are 130. I monitor it, right? We do a test called PTH. Testing vitamin D levels alone has no meaning. It has to be tested along with parathyroid hormone because it's a seesaw relationship between the two. So if vitamin D is low or not working, despite good levels, PTH is found to be up. And when we start giving adequate vitamin D to patients, this PTH comes down. And that's how we monitor next please. We monitor it. And two, this is something very important. Toxicity is not really vitamin D, it is because of high calcium. So when we are treating patients, not for common purpose, don't take this message कि calcium नहीं लेने का है. Calcium चाहिए हमको, खाने में adequate है. Vitamin D is enough to absorb it. But when I'm, as a doctor, treating a patient with autoimmune disease with high dose of D, I stop calcium. We stop their calcium. And we give them other minerals like magnesium. And I'm glad to know that I Thrive is making a very good quality magnesium. Yeah. So we have some products in India now coming up, and there are other brands too. So we need magnesium more than calcium in these patients, and we prevent hypercalcemia. Next, please. Vitamin D toxicity का भय नहीं है. Mayo Clinic का report है by none other than Dr. Michael Holick. He's the big boss of vitamin D. He says that it's a rarest medical condition. Okay, तो general purpose के लिए आप message लेके जाओ कि vitamin D से डरने का नहीं है. That's all. Don't be scared of it. Check your levels, correct it. correct it for your clients. You will get better results in whatever you're doing. And yes, in therapy, we are using all these supplements in addition. They are like a ministry, cabinet ministry of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is vitamin D, and all these other minerals which we use in our prescriptions are cabinet ministers. They are not the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister needs them too. Yeah? Okay, go ahead. So well, go ahead. Go ahead. Other patients, you can see, iske pehle wala dikhao. So we have such amazing results. Now we have data of so many patients, and we published a couple of papers and more data coming out. We'll be very happy to share at ease some other time. So you can see, and I've never seen these patients I do online. I have patients from all over India, and I don't have to go after them. They come and have to really see how to manage. So I want to train doctors. I want to train doctors in this field, right? So that the torch should continue of Dr. Coimbra. Next, please. Eczema, you saw that eczema? Hold on, go back. A child with eczema. Completely okay now. We are giving anti-allergics as doctors, suppressing it superficially, but the cause is in the immune cells. So you correct it, and the problem comes in check. Another young boy of mine, next, go ahead. So this is my paper which recently got published, where I have shared 6 cases of high dose of D in patients of psoriasis. One of them, she's from Dubai, I have no time, good results, all. Go ahead. A lady with eczema, you can see whole body eczema, how she was and how she's now. Completely cured, okay? Completely cured. She needed high doses, but now, after giving high dose, we bring it down to a maintenance dose. Zindagi bhar nahi khane ka hai, huh? A young patient of mine with multiple sclerosis, she's now mother of a baby. Her plaques on MRI have also disappeared. You can see the plaques disappearing on the MRI. Next, please. Well, pigmentation problems, again, deep solutions needed for it to be fought completely. Next, please. Oh yeah, another lady with lots of problems. You can see how bad her problem was, and she's so good now with so many autoimmune disorders. Next, please. Same lady, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, Sjogren's, everything in her. Next, and it's only D with the supplements. No steroids, no immunosuppressants. Yes, another young girl from Denmark doing very well. Next, but she needed high doses, huh? Can you believe how much? 60,000 daily I've given her for a couple of months with monitoring. Now she's on a maintenance of 30, 20. But she needed that. And her PTH was not budging. PTH nahi halta tha. So we had to give it to her. Okay. A young boy from Delhi doing well. Next, please. So summary, simple. Let's not be scared of this wonderful divine vitamin. It's a must for all of us, whatever we are doing, wherever we are, okay? And as doctors and nutritionists, vitamin D replacement is our duty, and avoiding it is negligence. Let's know that. Common sense pathy, as I just said. Well, how much dose is needed? These are all charts, and you can see for seniors, 10,000 is accepted now, okay? 10,000 daily. So if you're taking 60,000 per week, it's like taking 10,000. Thoda kam. And that is once the levels have been. Suppose somebody has a vitamin D level of 3 or 10. Will this weekly dose help? No. Loading dose. So we have to give 60,000 daily for a few days, 5 to 10 days, because then only uske baad you are eligible to take it once a week. And then after 2-3 months, once in 15 days, always. The word is, my prescription is always. It's food. It's not medicine. It is food. It is nutrition. It is cellular food. Okay, next please. So there is no doubt that the most important vitamin we need to take, not we can, we need to take is vitamin D, and it's a cellular necessity of the time, and you're not doing any harm to anyone. Okay? Wherever the art of medicine is love, it's a love for humanity, which brings us here together to share. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.